Hey, this is Anita with Bags and Lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching this video. So I had this video already recorded. It was a little long-winded, and I've been trying to also figure out the new lighting with the summer coming. So bear with me while you see the lighting kind of switch up while I figure that out. So thank you so much for watching this video. So I wanted to talk about the dark side of luxury resale, like you have seen from the title. And so this is pretty much, I just want you to get to think about the entire thing, or just not just think about it as it's an avenue for me to buy pre-owned items, but some more food for thought. Doesn't mean that I'm going to stop buying luxury handbags through the resale market, because I totally do not intend on planning to stop. But an article, or I think it was actually a video I read, and I've also read a couple of articles. They will be linked down below for your enjoyment as well, so that way you can read what I'm reading. But I wanted to just record this video to do a full picture. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off is going to be, I think, something that's very obvious, which is the kind of that industry where you have these super fakes that are getting really good. So that is something that you do have to think about. I know that is something that makes other people shy away from purchasing on the resale market, is because of that fact. I think it was Handbag Housewife, sorry to her, where she's had a stint of a few bad batches of items that she's purchased that have had to go back due to that. And that is why I want to say, throw in here, make sure you're getting it authenticated. It doesn't matter who it comes from, get it authenticated. And even if you want to do that a second through two different companies, make sure you are backing up the item that you're getting, pretty much. So that is something that you do have to think about. The other thing that I want to think about, that I wanted to throw out there, which is the reason why it made me think to record this video, is not only because of those obvious ones that are out there, they could not be what they seem, but stolen goods, the rise of stolen goods. I remember a few months ago, and this has nothing to do with luxury resale, but it's all over the market now that you have all these platforms that you can basically, I can make a living by selling things. Retail arbitrage and all this other stuff. My own items, it doesn't have to be resale. Pre-owned. It doesn't have to be, anyway, you know what I mean. Because I'm trying to rush and also re-record this video. So yeah, so it's not just with luxury goods, it's with everything. Like, there was local story here in the Atlanta metro area where there were girls that stole items. They stole thousands of dollars worth of goods from Khols, and it was men's underwear. And obviously they're not just gonna, take these men's underwear and wear them for the rest of their lives. They're reselling them. So all that has been on a rise. And also, you've seen a lot of stories that came out last year before, probably the year before that, where people were just like brazen attempts at stealing massive items from luxury goods stores. Like, you had groups of 30 people going in, or as small as like a few people that would crash a truck into a window and then go hop in after hours and steal things. But people are making brazen attempts to steal luxury goods, and they're not just admiring these things on their shelves. Obviously they're selling them, and so they are now flooding the market too with these items. So the rise of stolen goods is another thing to think about as well when you're talking about the resale market. Like I said, this is in no way to get you or deter you from buying through third-party platforms or on the resale market for luxury goods. Like I said, I intend on continuing that. So it's just, food for thought. A healthy conversation is really the point. So the points I wanted to make about that is, due to there has been a large increase of stolen goods. Target actually estimated this number, and what they call is, I think, retail shrink is the term, and they estimated 37% of their revenue has been due to loss, which is major. So that's just mind-blowing. That's a lot of loss. And what that ends up coming to is, when you have these people that are doing this at a massive scale of stealing items and trying to make a profit off of them on their own, rather than purchasing them through a sale or something like that, and just taking them off the shelves or taking them from trucks or however they're getting them, that it it impacts a lot of things. So overall, it is estimated to be $100 billion problem with this shrinkage, basically stealing. So like I said, it impacts businesses, because if you think about it, if you have a Walmart near you or some luxury store near you or whatever, and they end up closing up because of the massive, just everything changing, right? Like consumer trends changing, and maybe it also is that people are coming in and stealing, because there have been several shops that people have gone into and stole items, and let's say that happens multiple times, like maybe 2 times. That's a lot, even though that doesn't sound like a lot. That's a lot, because there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff, even 50,000 all and up worth of items that are being stolen at one time. And so there was an article that I read that also estimated it. So when, I think it was Target or some other retail store, where they said $300 worth of goods stolen is worth $300,000 worth of lost revenue. And I don't know how they kind of match the numbers up, whether that's, they're adding up marketing. I can see that being in there, as well as kind of them paying for the retail space. That space costs some money, and so when it's stolen, you don't have the revenue to recoup it. You have staff you have to pay. You also have insurance and whatever else that comes with it, loss, or also insurance for the staff, like health insurance. But I'm sure retail stores have insurance on their goods or what have you, things like that, and those cost money too. But to think that $300 is now calculated to be $300,000 of lost revenue is pretty drastic, and you can see how a store can't be sustained in that way when it's continued. But one of the things that I always talk about with my husband too is, like, when you physically go into the store, it helps generate revenue for that local store, and so I try to always do that all the time, instead of always, I'm not saying I don't, but always shopping online. Because if a retail store, let's say, like I said, change to its consumer shopping trends, in addition to maybe, theft or whatever happening in that store, if that store does not see it of value to be in a physical brick and mortar location, they will close up. And you think about it this way, you have people who lose their jobs, you have lost revenue in sales tax. That sales tax goes back to your local area, wherever you're purchasing that item from. So that is paying, political. It is paying those people too, but it also is paying your, like basically public servants. Your police officers. It's going back to your teachers, whatever else is out there. Like sewage and whatever else is impacted by the local revenue. And when that dries up, that then impacts that county, that local area, when stores move away. Also, when you have, in the Atlanta area, in a lot of places, they have like a local shopping area, right? And then you have the surrounding stores around that. So like, let's say there's a Home Goods and maybe a Target that are kind of close in together, and maybe like a Khols, right? So then you have restaurants that are near those places. So when people go shopping, they think, oh, you know what, let's go to lunch while we're out shopping, or let me go and check out this smaller boutique while we're out shopping, or let me go to a sauna, whatever is in that local area. They are then impacted because you have less foot traffic for the mass drivers of the traffic, that they then benefit from, because people are not going out to the restaurants because they're not out shopping. So it trickles down to impact a lot of things. Like I said, jobs, sales tax. It also can end up impacting your property value as well, right? Because if you don't have anything driving people out to those stores because the stores are closed, then that local shopping mall or shopping strip closes up. And then if that's closed up, then that's an abandoned building there. That impacts, it's a trickle down effect. Messes up everything. Trickle down effect that, impacts everything. And so those are things to think about when you're thinking about kind of the other side of resale and how things are being populated so quickly, also in a massive way. And I think more so I think about it in these things that are new, right? So if we go back to luxury goods specifically, I think that first off, like I said, that risk there when you're talking about items that are not the real thing. And then also with that, then you see these new items popping up, even if they're selling above retail and a seller has 10 of them. How did they get those 10? So those are things to think about, right? Because especially with some of these items that are very hard to get, it's not like you can walk into a store and buy 10 of them out the gate. How are you getting so many of them and they're new? You know, you have to question the authenticity, but then also if they are authentic, where else did you, like, how did you get all of those? So what are some retailers or what are some companies trying to do about it? So I did read that there are several, like Fashion File, a lot of consignment stores, things like that, that they are trying to kind of communicate with each other. So that way when you hear, for example, where let's say in January it made the news that a LV store was hit and they end up losing $100,000 worth of goods because those goods were stolen. Well, when, for example, they hear about that, they're communicating with each other, different places, different authorities, or whomever, to figure out what those serial numbers are, identification, that kind of thing, the type of items. So that way, if there's someone that comes to them and says, I have 3 Neverfulls to sell you, then Fashion File can say, or another company. There was another company that they highlighted that I do want to talk about because they kind of, it seemed like at least from the article, they were very much in the forefront of trying to get everybody together to kind of avoid this situation and avoid selling goods that could be stolen. But it does seem like there's been some communication, collaboration going on with those different consignment shops and platforms to try to work together. Some are working together and then some are not. But I did want to throw that out, that they're trying to be proactive. Another thing is that Richemont, who is the conglomerate that owns Chloe, VCA, Cartier, and some other brands, they're using Inquiris, I believe is the name of the platform, and they're specifically with this platform focusing on watches, because it's, like I said, it's not just luxury handbags, it's luxury watches, and it's not just luxury goods, it's things down to, like I gave the example with Khols, underwear, toothpaste, anything. People are taking anything and selling it because you really can do that nowadays. Okay, anyway, so they are using that to track goods via a registration. So it does require the owner of that luxury watch, for example, in this case with that platform, to register their item with a serial number, and then they have a way where they can basically keep track of it, so that way if it pops up somewhere it does not belong, then it's easier for them to identify that it's a stolen good, and hopefully decrease the chances of that item being stolen. I'm sorry, the item being sold, because they know that it is a stolen good. So there is some work, obviously, that companies are trying to do to avoid feeding the monster, basically, taking those stolen items and allowing it a place for those people to make money. Obviously, we have a long way to go with this, so those are things to also think about, and just food for thought that I wanted to just kind of spark a little conversation, spark a different kind of thought process or a idea around these things that we definitely love. So let me know what you're thinking of the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Please go ahead and thumbs it up, and thank you so much for watching.